Hey guys, welcome to today's episode, and I'm super excited. We have Joe Hoye, and he is a life-changing midlife makeover. So that's what we're going to do. We are really, really excited. He is an expert in weight loss, and today we are talking about the 4 reasons of why you may not be losing weight. These are all the 4 reasons. So if you're looking for losing that extra weight that you haven't been able to do, today is the episode for you. So, Joe, welcome.
I love that. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, let's dive right in. Let's talk right about what is the top. We'll start with the 4th reason. What's the 4th biggest reason why people do not lose weight? They're thinking, I'm doing it all right and I'm not losing weight.
Yeah, so we'll save what I think might be some of the top 2 for last, and I guess we'll start with this one. So I see, I wouldn't say frequently, but a good bit that the women we work with, so 40 plus, they're actually doing too much exercise. And I know that's a really backwards thing to think about, but if we really think about the role that exercise plays in achieving any goal, we understand that exercise is actually a stress to the body. And it's a positive stress, right? It's a stress that our body can adapt to. But if we do too much exercise and we don't get enough recovery, then we're really just tearing our body down without giving it the ability to build back stronger. And so if all we ever do is tear it down, that's going to put too much stress on our body. And when our body has too much stress, it's going to fight back. And when it fights back, we're not going to have the ability to lose weight anymore.
Mm, yeah. Okay. And what's number 3?
Number 3, gosh, kind of along those same lines. So we often see that, and this is going to be so backwards for a lot of women listening, but just like doing too much exercise, we see women eating too little for too long. And I know that that one's confusing too, because oftentimes we hear you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, which is absolutely true. I would never deny that. But if you eat in a calorie deficit that's too big for too long, your body becomes used to it. It adapts to it. And it's what we call becoming metabolically adapted. And so then you basically reset where your maintenance number of calories is. And so in order to lose weight from there, you then have to eat even less food, which is a really unhealthy, scary cycle that no one wants to follow. And so that's kind of why we created our diet detox method to get people out of that and give them the ability to have food freedoms again and lose weight at the same time.
Okay. And what would be the next one?
So the next one I would say is going to be people really just not understanding how many calories certain foods have, right? And so an example of this, I'll pick a really healthy example, right? Let's say somebody makes guacamole. So obviously we're going to take an avocado. Most of us would know, and if you don't, it's okay, but we know that an avocado is full of dietary fats. And dietary fats have over twice as many calories as anything that has carbs or protein, which means that it's going to add up twice as fast as any carb or protein you eat. And so if you're just thinking, hey, I'm going to have chips and guacamole or cucumbers and guacamole or peppers and guacamole, thinking it's healthy, you're absolutely right. You're eating healthy foods, but at the same time, you're eating a lot of calories in healthy foods. And at the end of the day, calories are really the thing that decide whether we lose weight or not.
I don't know about you guys, but I am stressed. And if you're feeling overwhelmed this holiday season, then I get it. With all the family get togethers, it is just a relentless source of stress. But anyway, there is something that I've got called Stress Guardian, and it's actually made by Bioptimizers, the people who make the magnesium breakthrough, which I love, love, love. But anyway, they are literally made this new product. It has 14 adaptogenic herbs and it just regulates your stress. I just actually took some right this second and it's awesome. If you go to stressguardian.com/wasteaway and put in waste away for 10% off your first order, it's stressguardian.com/wasteaway. Go there now.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the other foods that people are like, okay, because I know for me, that's a perfect example. Like I love eating sliced cucumbers with guacamole. I could, without thinking about it, literally eat probably 1,000 calories worth of guacamole like that if I'm not careful. So I literally need to be able to, with certain things, it's so easy to be able to eat too many calories, even though you don't think so. Like I would say almond butter is another one. So you're thinking, oh, I'll have a little bit of almond butter with some celery or something like that, and instantly could eat 800 calories with a blink of an eye.
Easily. Yeah, and that's a tricky one too. That's actually a really good example because a lot of us will think of almond butter or peanut butter or anything like that, any nut butter as a protein. And it's not. They have protein in it, but they're ultimately a fat because they have so much more fat in them. And it's the same exact thing as avocados. Like they're just so prominent in a high calorie dense macronutrient that you're just going to add up your calories so quickly. Another couple examples would be any oils, right? So avocado oil, healthy. Coconut oil, healthy. But again, really easy to add up your calories really quickly.
Yeah. So if you were kind of like focusing on, hey, these are the foods that I would love for you to really focus on, what would be like kind of your top foods that you would say these foods um, are where I would really focus your energy on?
That's a tricky one because we work with so many clients. We have such a big community, and I've noticed that everyone has different taste buds. So I never want to tell a large population to eat one certain food. What I would want to do though is tell them to prioritize their protein, right? So just find foods that are really high in protein, meats, seafoods, some dairies, and prioritize those because that's going to make you get full quicker and feel full longer. And so then once you eat those proteins on your plate, then you can go to the guacamole or whatever has the oil dribbled over it or the peanut butter or whatever it is. But at least you're going to feel full faster, which means you're going to eat less of those calorie dense foods and ultimately stay within your calorie goals to lose weight.
Did you know that you can get all four of the books that I wrote, Waste Away, Fasting to Freedom, One Meal into Tasting, and Freedom from Food? You can buy all four books and get the ebook for free. Go right now to chantelrayway.com, or you can go to Amazon. Also, I just wrote a brand new book called How to Delegate Everything But Sex. If you are stressed out and are tired of doing everything on your own, go check out Delegate Everything But Sex. And there's all kinds of freebies on the site. Yeah, I would say another one is smoothies. So I was at a restaurant, and this particular restaurant had like a healthy section, and they actually had every food that they had the calories in it. And there were two smoothies that they had that looked really, really good. Both smoothies had, both of them were, one was 1,200 calories and one was 1,100 calories for a smoothie. And so I don't think that that's another place that I feel like people can get out of control with in their mind. They're like, oh, I'm having this really healthy smoothie. And this one had like kale and all kinds
Mhm.
of stuff, but it must have had, a lot of, it had like coconut cream, it had almond butters, it had all kinds of, avocado. By the time they put all these different things together, it was one was 1,100 calories, one was 1,200 calories, and you can suck it down in 2 minutes. And in your mind, you don't feel like you've eaten 1,200 calories.
I was just going to say that last part too. It's so dangerous because you can crush a smoothie in what, under 5 minutes. And so your hunger hormones, ghrelin and leptin, they don't even have time to kick in. Like they don't even know what happened and you've just demolished 1,200 calories. And now you might still be hungry until those hormones kick in and then you still eat more food. So that's a great example. Yeah.
Mm. So as far as let's go ahead and tell the last one that you said is a big one where you said this is a big reason why people aren't losing weight.
Yeah. So the big one here that we see oftentimes is that people are just too sedentary. Number one, as humans, we weren't designed to be sedentary. We're supposed to be moving our body. We're going to feel better mentally and physically when we move our body. But again, we're just going to burn less calories, which means we're going to have a lower allotment of calories throughout the day. And so maybe you're only allowed, if you're a small person, and have a small frame, 1,200 to 1,300 calories a day because you don't move. And if you just had that smoothie that Chantel just mentioned, that's it. That's all you can have for the day. And if you have any more than that, you're either going to maintain or you're going to gain weight. And so that's why it's so hard to lose weight if you're living that sedentary lifestyle.
Mm. Yeah. If I had to rank these, and I'll add one more. So I would say the number one thing for me, if I had to say, is that you're eating too many calories and you're not in a calorie deficiency and you are doing things like we talked about. You're eating too many healthy fats that are in avocado, the nut butters, the coconut and olive oil, and you're eating so many of them and you're consuming way too much fat and you're consuming way too much calories, especially like maybe you're having a salad and you're, loading it down with tons of salad dressing. That's another one that would be a big one. So that to me is number one. And I would say another one is consuming too many liquid calories. So like I said, with the smoothies and having too much fruit in those smoothies, and you're just kind of just sucking those smoothies and even other liquid calories down, whether it's, alcohol or other liquid calories. And I would say another one is just kind of being healthy and then blowing it kind of maybe on the weekends or using food as a reward. So in their mind, they go, okay, maybe Monday through Thursday, they were eating perfectly clean, but then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're like, okay, I'm having pizza and beer and, dinner dates and cocktails. And in their mind, they're like, oh, I just had like one cheat meal or whatever, when in fact, it was really more like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where they just rewarded themselves, to death. And then I agree with you. Sometimes I would say I definitely do agree that sometimes people might not be eating enough, but I would say I would say that's more like 3 to 5% of the people that I've met and talked with. The other ones would be the majority. What would you say?
Yeah, so it's hard. It's hard for me to say that just because you know your audience way better. I don't have as much of a grasp on side of who's listening to this podcast. I know that for the women that we work with, they're 40, 50, 60 years old, and they've had the weight to lose for the past 5, 10, or 15 years, which means they've been dieting the entire time. And so if we know they're eating in a calorie deficit and they're not losing weight, it's the only proof we need that that calorie deficit isn't working. But that's just my observation with my audience. I agree that yours could be totally different.
What would you say? Some people say that liquid calories are easier to burn. What would you respond to that?
Absolutely not. No.
Mhm.
I would say no.
Yeah, it's funny that people think that. And then what would you say about intermittent fasting? Have you seen people be successful with intermittent fasting? And what are some kind of tips that you've seen that have helped people with intermittent fasting and eating healthy as a combination with kind of keeping that caloric intake right, but also adding in intermittent fasting?
I would say number one, I've seen people that are extremely successful with intermittent fasting. My partner actually, she doesn't do it now, but she did it for a period of 2 to 3 years, and I think that's when she was in the best shape of her life. Um, so yes, you can be extremely successful. I think the two biggest things I would say is number one, figure out how many calories and protein you need in order to reach your goal, and then plan ahead. Don't wake up and just guess on how you're going to spend your one, your two, your three meals a day. Have a plan of how you're going to hit that goal roughly and then get there. Because we all know our days can get sideways really fast. We're busy, we have so much going on. Sometimes the last thing on our mind is what we're going to eat, if there's even food available. And if we get ourselves into a pickle, that's how we stop our progress instantly. So having a plan, I think, is going to be one of the best tips.
Guys, I just want to interrupt for just a second, and I want you to hear Paul Saladino talk about why liver is so important. And if you don't like liver, we have another option for you.
your ancestors were eating liver. And the reason that this sort of wisdom has been passed down is because liver is very nutritious. It's basically nature's multivitamin. If you look at the nutrients in meat, they're great. You've got zinc, you got B6, you got B12, you got some K2. But if you look at liver, it really complements what's in muscle meat. And there are many unique nutrients found in organs, specifically liver as a powerhouse of these, that are difficult to obtain outside of liver. Like meat and organs are like peanut butter and jelly. They just go together. They're supposed to be eaten together. The easiest way to eat liver is just to do it raw. If you don't want to eat liver raw, you can cook it. But the reason that I like to do it raw is because there are unique nutrients in liver that are probably somewhat degraded when you cook the liver.
This really is like the most nutrient-rich supplements that you can find, and they are amazing. I have tried them. I absolutely love them. So just go to heartandsoil.co, use the coupon code, and save you some money there. So one of the things I hear people say is like, when I was younger, I'm doing the exact same things as when I was younger. And they kind of say like, once I hit like 40, that's when everything became so much harder. It's kind of like things were easy. I kind of ate what I wanted to, but once I kind of hit 40, that's when things got harder. Do you see people saying that same thing to you?
Absolutely. Let me clarify real quick before I dive in. Is this men and women? Is this mostly women?
I would say both. I would say
Okay.
both men and women say the same thing. It's like they kind of are like, they could eat a lot more, of what they wanted. And then all of a sudden, once they hit 40, things got more difficult.
So in one way, it's a similar reason, and in another way, it's not. So the way it's similar is that I think there's a lot of muscle loss that happens between, let's say, 30 and 40. For men, they either get out of construction or hard labor type jobs and they get desk jobs. So they're working out less, exercising less. They lose their muscle. By losing muscle, their metabolic rate drops, but they're used to eating a certain amount. They don't change how much they were eating. They simply change the amount of calories they can burn. And so that makes them gain weight. For women, it could be the exercise thing. But a lot of the ladies we work with, they haven't strength trained a ton in their life to begin with. And so what we see is that as they're entering that perimenopausal state, sometimes they're already in menopause if they've hit it really, really early, then their hormones are all over the place. And so number one, they're losing muscle because we understand that as you hit 40, women are losing about 1% of their muscle year after year. And also with your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, your cortisol, all over the place, your body doesn't know what to do. It's under a massive amount of stress. And so if you're already stressing it in other ways, it's going to fight back.
So true. And I mean, even with guys, like I would say, guys and girls, testosterone is a big one. And your testosterone, you definitely are losing it. Testosterone helps you keep that muscle and helps you be able to, burn more calories and have that muscle tone as well. So I agree 100%. Well, you have a special gift for our listeners, and he is going to be giving away 6 months of free coaching to one listener. So tell them what they need to do to be able to earn that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So this is only if somebody really resonated with what we said. I don't want somebody to sign up if they're kind of on the fence about what we just talked about. I really want someone to trust that this is going to be the life change they need. But if you do, then we want to give one listener 6 months of free coaching, like you just said. And so I'm going to need 4 things from you. There's a link we'll put in the description of this podcast, and I'll need your name, your phone number, your email. Not to spam you. It's just so I can tell you that, hey, you're the lucky winner. This is where you go for free coaching. If I don't have that, I can't contact you. And then the last thing, this one's also equally as important. I need a really amazing reason as to why you think you are the one that deserves the free coaching. So give me a compelling reason, give me your story, give me what you want to accomplish and why you want to accomplish it. And we're going to choose the winner based off that.
I love it. Well, tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think the easiest place is just going to be giving my name a search. So Joe Hoye, Hoye. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram that way, or you can head straight to our site, which is going to be hoyefit.com. That's it.
I love it. Well, you guys stay tuned. We've got another episode coming up in just a few. Bye-bye for now.